Hey there, AmyK here. I have a personal question for you. Have you ever had a misstep or a transgression? People forgive you, like they move on, but you can't. It's as if you're just constantly revisiting it and beating yourself up and your inner critic won't let it go. Somebody I know has had this experience recently, and I thought, I'm gonna share this with all of you. So 2 days ago, told you it was recent, 2 days ago, I had that moment where I'm like, hey, I'm a master communicator, but not in this conversation. And so we were laughing that I did not show up as my best self. And we've moved on, I've been forgiven, it was a misstep, and I found myself beating myself up. Like, I know better, I preach about this, I teach this for a living, right? I'm like, oh, teacher be the student. But what's fascinating to me was the inner critic that was at play. And what started to get me out of it, not a shocker, was like, hello, practice what you preach. Ask yourself the questions that you ask your clients. And so the first thing that I had to ask myself is, are you human? And it was like, It's like, well, then you're gonna make mistakes because that's part of the human experience. So how are you gonna give yourself grace and get out of arrogance and into grace? And then 2 of my favorite questions are, is this the energy that I wanna live in? No. So then on a scale of 1 to 10, how good would it be for you to let this go? And I'm like, 10, it'd be very good for me to let this go. And yet, it's very difficult. You get that little bit of ick and like, I know better, I can do better. And this is an affliction of type A go-getter high achievers. We want to be excellent, close to perfection all the time. And that is unsustainable. But we believe, we take on this persona, we take on this identity, well, I have to be perfect in this thing that I'm, preaching or doing or the way I'm behaving, because that's part of my identity. And so it was not lost on me that the exact lesson that I have been teaching in my mastermind this week is you can be smart and still do something stupid. You can be kind-hearted and still do something that wasn't so kind. You can still be a master communicator and be a lame-ass communicator in a conversation on occasion. So I just wanted to share this with you because 1, you are so not alone. If you've ever done something and you're like, oh my God, everybody else has moved on, why can't I? I really want you to stop and ask yourself 3 questions. Am I human? I'm hoping that the answer is yes. And then 2, is this the energy that I want to live in? No, I want to go forward in better energy. Then on a scale of 1 to 10, how good would it be for you to let this go? And then if you need a bonus 4th question, what am I gaining? What am I gaining by holding on to this? Because if you have a competing commitment, then it's going to stop you from actually releasing it and letting it go. And often, sometimes we do have a competing commitment. And I noticed originally that my competing commitment was, I just don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the person that lets their emotions rule the conversation just because I'm upset. I'm allowed to be upset. But the way that I communicate that is really important. And so that is the lesson that I wanted to learn. And now I can let it go. So you're probably thinking, well, then why did you make a video about it? Because this is a chance for me to show you that it's a practice. And I show up all the time preaching self-leadership is a practice. Self-leadership is a practice. And if I'm not telling you that I'm also in this practice, come on. So that's why I made this video. Because in the real world, self-leadership, it's hard and it's a choice and it's a practice. From my heart to yours, hugs.